3, 2, 1. Your girlfriend said subscribe to Arias or she will leave you for your dad.
These are all the reasons why I don't like America's Got Talent, and neither should you. America's Got Talent has been no stranger to controversy over the last 15 years. They've been accused of pretty much everything in the book. Most recently, Gabriella Union, who is an actress, came out and said that they were racist, and apparently Simon Cowell smokes on set.
Was confirming all of it, including Simon Cowell illegally smoking inside auditions. It was a cold that lingered and turned into bronchitis.
I don't really know if that's a problem. At least not one worth mentioning to news channels. Somehow CNN and ET, Entertainment Tonight, ABC, NBC, all these places felt it necessary to run the story that Simon Cowell smokes on set because Gabriella Union got bronchitis.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Then they also had Marcelito Pomoy, who came on, gave more views than it's probably ever seen. Yes, there are videos that AGT has that have more views than Marcelito Pomoy's, but remember, those other videos that have 100 million plus views are like 6-7 years old, so they've been on the internet for a while. Somehow, he still only wound up in 4th place, and a lot of people were bitter about that. And if we go even further back, Nick Cannon was released from the show. AGT actually tried to fire Nick Cannon over slightly edgy, racy sort of racist jokes.
Very racist. I'm blatantly racist.
Example. I've never heard someone so proud of it before.
I am proud to be racist.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There's certain things that I believe my race is superior at.
So they told him they were going to fire him. Okay, so AGT has a colorful history and accused of a lot of things, and a lot of their members are turning on each other. It's Hollywood. That's what it is. You got all these safe spacers and social justice warriors that work on the set of AGT running around spouting all these things. Every type of ism that you can find because they have a friend who has a friend who meets that specific criteria, so they're offended. Which to me is more or less just a clout grab. That's what that is. It is a clout grab. It is not their intention to change people's perception. It is their intention to gain clout. There is a long drawn out colorful history with AGT. All those things aside, I want to focus on the newest season, starting with the first show. Because of all this controversy and these different things, America's Got Talent is actually having a very difficult time finding talent. So let's take a look at the show and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Which season 15, huge open, they got all this stuff going on. And then one of the first acts they decide to put on the very first show are some freaking pigs. So amazing. How cool. And of course, AGT being AGT, they got 4 yeses. And after that act was yet another mildly uncomfortable and borderline inappropriate dance group that makes you forget this girl is like 15 years old and this guy is 20, may even be related. I don't know. They grew up together. They've been around each other since childhood, which is still right now for one of them at least. She's 15. And you may even be related. Like, what? How is that on the show and that's okay? Maybe it's just me. I don't know. There's about a half an hour of acts that are really not even worth mentioning. They're so bad. They're basically the goofs that they insert into the show when they don't have talent to show up. They did this for half an hour. Most of the talent out there in the world has seen that this show doesn't treat its talent fairly and judge them fairly. Furthermore, the winners really don't even get anything that spectacular. They maybe get a small bump on social media, maybe another TV show or two, but after that, pretty much all gone. Can you think of anyone that was on America's Got Talent that won that has gone on and had this successful giant career that they promise? 1, maybe 2? So because of this, these are the kinds of acts that they have coming on the show. No shade to these guys, but it's just a couple of guys doing an acoustic cover of a Bon Jovi song. So what? There's literally a million people that can do exactly what these guys are doing right now. No offense to these guys. It's just, how did that make it on the show in the first place? Of course they make it through the next round. At this pace, I could go on the show and win it. Like, honestly, that is the caliber of talent I've seen thus far. It's just basically the middle of the barrel for the talent pool. And it just shows how few acts are willing to go on this show. Now, you did have this one dude that was a drummer. He actually had a pretty interesting act, I'm not going to lie. But to be honest, I feel like his efforts would be better spent just making YouTube videos. There's a lot of street performers that have YouTube channels that are very successful. Is he going to go on to win it? Probably not, because he doesn't fit the profile. He doesn't fit the criteria that they need to make a winner, which is someone that they can control. And the prize that they give out isn't even very good. It's supposed to be $1 million, blah, blah, blah. But what they don't tell you is it's actually in a 40-year annuity that only pays out $25,000 a year. Huh? Yeah, it's 40-year annuity that pays out $25,000 a year. That specific account will accrue money over the years and mature at 40 years. And in 40 years, that money will be worth $1 million. That's a fact. Look it up. And people say that's why they go on the show, is to get $1 million, blah, blah, blah. That's not what the prize is. It's a $25,000 annuity for 40 years. There was this one guy who did some magic, and it was pretty bad. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it's pretty obvious. There's a whole section on YouTube for the America's Got Talent magic tricks and how fake they are and exposing them and everything. I'm not going to get into that. Suffice to say, if you're doing magic tricks on TV, the camera crew and the production team have to be in on the trick. Otherwise, the majority of tricks will not work. Because camera tricks work, but only in video, not in the crowd. The next act was a guy who was in prison for 37 years, wrongly, but 37 years later he got released due to the evidence freeing him, showing that he was innocent. He's had a pretty difficult life. His singing voice was, it was okay. It's not spectacular.
Don't let the sun go down on me.
It sounds more soulful, but is it the type of talent that the entire world would get behind? I don't know. Obviously why he's on the show, because he has such a powerful backstory. You have some goof acts, like this one, the skating. Like, come on. What is that? It's not even funny. I don't understand why they would have that on the show, other than they couldn't come up with anything else. They just had people come on the show that said, yeah, we'll take $500. I'll go up there and do something stupid. The very next act was a guy doing sock puppets.
I ain't got much time left. Don't talk like that, Mom.
High quality entertainment. I don't get it. How does a show like this get such huge airtime? The amount of money going behind this show to promote it and everything is just insane. And the fact that these are the kinds of acts that they would put on here, promoting it with that much money, like, why not actually have truly, genuinely talented people to come on this show? There's more goof acts on this episode than there are talented acts. That's not a good thing. Then there's this one guy who does social media, voice impressions and stuff, kind of like Azers. I don't know if you know who that is, but he's actually pretty funny.
The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out.
Vincent something or other. But it's very clear that the judges don't hold any social media in high regard at all.
Isn't that nice to get actual feedback instead of just likes?
Which is strange, especially considering that's where 90% of their views come from. Which I don't really want to comb back through the show and show you guys the comments that they made, because, that's just too much effort. One thing in particular I did notice about this act is you can see how poorly the editing was done after Vincent goes off stage. The camera angles keep changing and shifting, and so does his body position. Total proof, completely obvious, that they did multiple takes of him talking on the phone to his dad. Throw in the audio of his dad talking and throw in some subtitles down below to tie it together. If you pay close attention to the camera angles and his body position, you can tell that this was shot twice, at least twice. Every time a person walks in front of the camera, his angle shifts, everything shifts. And you might say it's multiple cameras, but why would two cameras be standing side by side?
4 yeses.
There's one.
Yes,
There's
sir.
two. There's three.
That's
fantastic, son. I'm so proud of you. I'm so
Oh.
proud of you. I love you so much.
There's four.
Thank you, Dad. I appreciate it.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
There's the last one. The angle changes, but only slightly. So it's not as if they shifted to a different camera. It changes just enough to show that he's trying to stay in the same position that he was in before, which is holding the hand up, and the camera's trying to make it seem as someone just walked in front of the camera. That is a wipe. That's a transition. This person cutting in front of the camera probably didn't even cut in front of the camera. They just inserted her there.
It was absolutely incredible. How do you feel right now?
Because everyone knows when you're filming part of a massive show that has millions and millions of dollars behind it, the one thing that you want people to do is walk directly in front of the camera. Look at the positioning on the camera on the overhead shot. You see how close this camera is to him and Terry Crews? It's right on him. There's no space for people to walk around. There's people standing back here. There's not 30 people walking back and forth, coming on and off stage and all this stuff. But as soon as it cuts to Terry Crews interviewing him, what happens?
That was absolutely incredible. How do you feel right now?
As you just saw, there's no space for them to walk in front of you. Yet they put that in there as a wipe, which proves that they shot this part of the scene twice, at least twice. It's scripted, it's put together and edited. Some of these, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. The crazy part is this guy is a social media person, so he's no stranger to film. So, I mean, he should understand this. This should be the least obvious one because he does it for a living. The absolute most obvious.
Fire happy now. Hey, Dad, guess what? 4 yeses. Yes, sir.
Oh my God, I knew it, son. I knew it.
That's
Oh my God, that's fantastic, son. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I love you so much, son.
Thank you, Dad.
The person that's walking around in the foreground that's not doing the camera wipe, if you pay close attention, it's the same girl walking back and forth to give the illusion that there are people walking all around. So when the wipe comes from a person walking directly in front of the camera, it doesn't seem as shocking, and it's covered up a little bit more to make it seem as if it's just normal. There's just people walking in front of the camera while we're trying to film here. I mean, I've done my own videos where I've shown how they edit things in to make it look like it's real and whatever, and it's not. It's all totally fake. And it seems like most of the talent that comes on this show that tries to go forward, that is actually talented, are from other countries, from other places, who maybe they don't see these videos on America's Got Talent and how fake they are. So they don't get the whole picture until they get there. And America's Got Talent seeks these people out. It's basically, let's go find some people that don't know much about us except for what we show everyone, because they'll be more apt to want to come on the show and put up with our garbage. After that guy, there's really not a whole lot. There's this one dude who's a contortionist slash fire breather slash stick and nose in his knife guy. Probably the most entertaining out of all the shows on there. That however many acts were on this first show, you've only got maybe 2 of them that are really talented. 3 if you count the Dragon Twins. But are they $1 million show? I don't know. But they're definitely a $25,000 a year show. So there you go. That's all the reasons why I don't like AGT, and neither should you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Slap a like on it if you did. If not, well, slap a dislike on it. I don't know. Check out some of my other videos. If you like AGT being exposed, I've got a few others that I've done. And if you want more, leave it in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I try to put up 2 videos a week. Maybe I'll do a video on beatboxing on America's Got Talent beatboxing. And I will catch you guys in the next video. That's a wrap.